For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
Everybody, welcome back. WFO Radio is back in the studio. The first NHRA Nitro of the winter break. That's right. What are we going to do? No drag racing for a couple of months, at least no NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series drag racing. How interesting is it that we are between the Camping World Series and the Mission Foods Series, and we just finished one. We're going to start another one, and we've got all these great champions to talk with, like Doug Kalitta, going to be joining us tomorrow, Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. It's right here on the page that you're watching, whether you're watching on the tube, whether you're watching on the book, whether you're watching, it's very close to you, either above or below this show. And we would love for you to join us for Doug Kalitta's first and historic World Champion Winterview on WFO Radio. I'm super excited, as you can imagine. We got Alan Reinhart going to join us here in a few minutes from now. We got Aaron Stanfield going to be joining us a few minutes from now on this show. So we encourage you to share the show, baby. Share it. Let's get it out there. Because, I don't know, guys, I don't know. I feel like maybe we just witnessed something that is so great that we may never witness something as great ever again. A winner-take-all final round in Top Fuel featuring Leah and Doug down to the wire. Winner take all. You'd write that stuff up. You dream it up for a movie script, but it rarely happens. But it happened, and we experienced it. So many great things happened in the In-N-Out Burger Finals. We're going to cover it all on the show. And your thoughts and your comments, and you put them in the chat section down there and comments on YouTube, whatever, we'll get to them. And we're going to keep this show going throughout the winter break. Hopefully you all know that. PRI coming up next week. We're working on getting more champions in. Our Lucas Oil Series champions are all going to be featured and on the show. There's a new Attention in the Pits out from NHRA. Everybody wondering where their cars are. On Attention in the Pits and why it didn't come out, because they're about to be one every week through the entire winter break. And I feel like we got close to getting you to the start of the Gator Nationals. That's how many Attention in the Pits we did for the winter break. So there's a lot going on for the drag racing fan. You can watch Bachelor in Paradise for Jordan Vandergriff. There's a lot going on. We're going to cover as much as we can. It's going to be nonstop chaos. For instance, the Ignition show happened last night. I got back from a trip to Wright Trailers to drop off my race car trailer so we can get Project Pontiac going. Yeah, Project Pontiac is going to get a lot of effort as we rebuild my bracket car into an NHRA Super Street competitor. Will I be able to race the 2025 Gator Nationals? That's I'm already thinking about that. That's going to be tough. I don't know if we're going to make it, but maybe we will. We're going to do all that on YouTube. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great winter break. Hopefully you will follow along. But I got back from Wright Trailers, slid into the studio immediately, flipped on the steam, and we knocked out an Ignition. Vegas F1, In-N-Out Burger Finals. Open conversation with all of our Patreons. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do the same here today. And it's not possible without our sponsors. These folks have been with us through the thick and through the thin. Not that there's been a lot of thin in 2022 and 2023. But Phillips Connect, smart trailer technology. Justin Ashley, an amazing season. Phillips Connect, an even better season. They're keeping people safe and on time out there on the highways and byways of the United States of America. Certainly, I passed a lot of trucks and trailers yesterday, flying by me on US 27, flying by me on South Florida Turnpike, heading north, heading south. A lot of fun. I'm hoping that they are connected so that they know if a wheel hub is heating up or if they've got a problem in their tractor trailer. And if you are in the transportation industry, please reach out to me, Joe, at WFOradio.com, and I will connect you personally. Get a nice personalized connection. The folks at Foggett, this is Steve Williams, who won the In-N-Out Burger Finals and Super Gas, and Gary Stinnett from Stinnett Automotive out there in Emporia, Kansas, getting together a collab, if you will, for this product called Fog It. And I keep a can around because they, provided it. But I'm finding all these amazing uses that are not necessarily related to high-performance racing engines. That's what it's for. At the end of the race, you fog down your engine to protect the inside of your cylinders. And if you're not doing that, you're susceptible to microscopic corrosion, ruining all the hard work that you've put in to get it. FOGGIT.com. They have got a divisional contingency program out there in the NHRA. But for listeners of the show, I highly recommend you just order yourself a can and put it to work, and you'll be shocked at all the different things. It inhibits corrosion and many other things. Fogit.com. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. Another North Florida trip that I'm going to be making real soon as we drop off a Power Glide or two for the Project Pontiac. But the bottom line is you go to the big money bracket races, you go to the .90 races, you look at powerful street cars out there in Sick Week, Fuel Tech, Pro Mod, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, sponsored by Wright Trailers. All of these categories, they have something in common. And the answer is FTI Transmissions and Torque Converters throughout the categories. Not everybody, but a large portion, because they make great transmissions and torque converters for very highly powered race cars, and also people who need them to be consistent. Go to FTIperformance.com to find out more. And if you bring a transmission, tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Like the folks at Total Seal, they already know. All the customers they're getting are coming through WFO Radio. Got a brand new episode of Hidden Horsepower up featuring Gary Stinnett talking about engine building for throttle stop racing. Is it different? Why is it different? What do they do different? How do they build them different? Super Comp, Super Gas, Super Street. If you're going to use a throttle stop, it's got to be a little different. Why and how? Check out Hidden Horsepower. The good news is Total Seal fits the rings, whether it be stock eliminator at In-N-Out Burger Dragstrip in Pomona, whether it be Vegas, Formula One, they've got something in common too. And it's Total Seal piston rings throughout the entire event, scattered throughout the field. Can't tell you who, though. Can't tell you who. TotalSeal.com. And oh, yes, it's PRI time. Get ready to swing by the Total Seal booth at PRI. I will be there. We'll be recording episodes of Hidden Horsepower, and it is going to be so much fun. PRI trade show coming up in just a couple of weeks. Yeah, the winter break. What break is that? Folks at Bernie Speed Shop got a lot going on. Josh Hart made the top 10. That was a big deal. And it's an interesting conversation for that. Do you lock the top 10 and send everybody else home, or do you let everybody compete for those top 10 positions? He got in with two, with some round wins in the final two races of the year. It's important to get into the top 10, I think. Bernie's doing a great job regardless. Over 100,000 square feet up there in Ocala, Florida, another North Florida company. I don't know what it is, the whole Florida thing. Bernie's on the map with the big fan fest at the start of the season. Everybody's already hoping they're going to be doing it again to get out to Bernie's in Ocala in March. Prior to the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gator Nationals, the kickoff of the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. Think about that, all new. You got to be there for that. But Bernie's, they got over 100,000 square feet. They sell on consignment. They build, they make. Josh Hart just posted some amazing photographs of ported supercharger that was going on a Challenger. They do it all. It is a speed shop. American Classic Horsepower. What I encourage my listeners to do is just go to their website and see what they've got. Just like start checking out various things. The cars they have for sale is a very fun thing. Like, can I get that one? Yeah. Can I get that one? Oh, no, I can't get that one. So check them out. Later on in the show, we'll tell you about Frank Hawley's drag racing school. They put out a great note earlier today. I believe they're going to be down in Tucson, Arizona later on this year. Who knows? Maybe you get it as a Christmas gift. The folks at samtech.edu, the next generation of machinists and engine builders coming up. There's Samtech, CNC programmers, rocket engineers coming up through samtech.edu, all helping out. And then there's Marvin Rodak, my great buddy, Marvin Rodak's coffeeandgrills.com. We'll tell you about him a little bit later. Look at all those comments. But right now, let's go out to, speaking of Tucson, Arizona, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart. What's up, Alan? How are you?
Hey, Joe. I think I'm going to be okay. How about you?
You think you're going to be okay? That's kind of an interesting start to the deal. I got to tell you, like, coming off the finals, I had this amazing feeling of not personal accomplishment, although I felt like I did pretty well, but team accomplishment, not team announcer, team NHRA, but team drag racing. That I don't know if we could have put together a better countdown, starting in Reading and powering on right through Charlotte and Worldwide Technology Raceway, the Stampede of Speed, Vegas, and Pomona. Those 6 races were all amazing in their own ways, culminating with a winner-take-all final round in Top Fuel, in which the guy that everybody wanted to see him win, but that's not how it works. You got to do it. Torrence, you got to earn it. And he did. He went out there and earned it. He's 40 on the tree, 47, runs a 67, throws it down. Doug Kalitta's a champ. Connie Kalitta's on the track in his cart. How do we top that?
Oh, I think we'll find a way. We certainly seem to every year. It was interesting that the way that final round went. Speaking with Leah at the banquet the next day, I said, even you can't be too disappointed. And she kind of laughed and she said, she said, when I hit the gas and like, don't see him. And I'm looking for the win light when I got down to the scoreboard and I didn't see mine. And I thought I saw his out of the corner of my eye. And she said it was about 50% disappointment and 50% relief, because if she wins, then she's going to, oh, come on, really? You couldn't let Doug have one? And I told her, I said, do you realize some of the people probably would have booed? And she kind of laughed. And she said, I know. And she said, we wanted it. We were going for it. Make no mistake. But she said, even I'm happy for him for all that he's done. And she says, we're young. We're a new team. We're going to have plenty of opportunities to do this in the future. So even she was okay with it. And I figured, if the person that lost the championship isn't suicidal about it, is going, you know what, I can live with this, then that makes for a pretty popular champion.
Yeah. It had to happen. It was one of those weird things that we were all, and Doug is going to be on tomorrow, guys, 12 noon Eastern time. I need everybody in the world to share the show and get it out there. And we're all going to talk to Doug because he's a different Doug now. It's weird. Doug is a successful human being. He's winning at life. He's a pilot. He's got multiple businesses that are going very well. He's got wonderful kids and a wonderful family. So no matter what happens in drag racing competition, Doug is a winner. He's got it going on. But sometimes the world, the cosmos, the one thing that you really want, that it doesn't let you have it. And that's the experience Doug has been living. And now that's over. He got it. The frustration or anxiety or what's going on here, or why can't I win this, or all of that. We saw Caps with the U.S. Nationals. We saw it with Reinhart in the Daytona 500. All that is gone. This is a different Doug Kalitta now. He doesn't have that hanging over his head anymore, that he's the greatest driver in NHRA to never have won a championship, because he did it.
Well, I think, tenacity gets rewarded, because I'm pretty certain there have been times over the last probably at least 5 or 6 years when Doug had thought, you know what, maybe it's time to just put the helmet up, right? Okay, I don't have a championship, but I've accomplished everything else there is to do out here. And as you mentioned, he's plenty busy with the rest of the things he's got going on in his life. And I think had he retired without winning a championship, I don't believe it would have tarnished his legacy at all. The number of things that he had done and accomplished, and okay, there's one he didn't get, but let me ask you this: you think of like Ed McCullough. Do you think anybody looks back at the history of Ed McCullough and goes, "Well, the guy never won a championship, so he didn't really do anything"? No, he had tremendous accomplishments. I mean, all the Indy wins, all the things. He was still a great piece of drag racing history. He certainly has a Hall of Fame career. He never won the championship. That's the one thing that got away from him. But Doug just refused to give up. Whatever it takes. They've obviously made a huge investment in Kalitta Motorsports a few years ago when they decided to start building their own parts in-house. Before that, they were building their own chassis in-house, trying to do everything they could to control their own destiny. And then, the last thing that they finally, okay, bring it, Brian and Alan, in-house, and let's have them work for us instead of working against us. And that was the final thing that made it happen. So, they'll all be back next year. I believe the entire team is coming back to defend. And I think, now that they've proven they can do it, I think they're going to be even tougher.
Well, exactly. Like this, is the story ending, or is the story just beginning? Doug Kalitta, does he end up as a 2-time champion or a 3? Like, we just don't know. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I don't think they went through all of this just for that. This is part of the story, but it's definitely the end of a chapter. And this Facebook user, I don't know what it is, brings up Dan Marino, though, right? And that's the unfortunate point. Dan Marino, I believe, as a person who watched his whole career, is the greatest quarterback that I ever saw sling a football. And you go to the YouTube and you watch the highlights, and even by today's standards, different rules in the league, the way they play defense and call penalties is totally different. But the modern NFL was designed around the kind of experience we had down here in Miami during Dan Marino's career. Like, that's what it is. They said that's more exciting than 2 yards in a cloud of dust. It's just much more exciting. So the entire NFL juggernaut, in my opinion, is really built around the model that was Dan Marino. Never won a Super Bowl and can't get away from it. He's in the Hall of Fame. He worked on TV. Everybody loved. Yeah, never won the Super Bowl. Did you win or did you not win it? Didn't win it. And it stinks that they do that to him, but that's the way our civilization is. It just is. It's sad, but it is. But Doug doesn't have to deal with that. That's the best part about it. He doesn't have to deal with it. All right, our guest is on. We're going to delve into Matt Hagan. We're going to delve into Erica, Gaige Herrera. But this guy he knows how to stack the tail end of the season. Our race winner at the In-N-Out Burger Finals in Pro Stock. Let me do my move where I bump out Alan and bring in Aaron Stanfield. What's up, Aaron? And then bring back Alan.
Hey, Joe. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being on. You didn't really celebrate it at all because you had something more significant than winning the finals to deal with. You got on the jet. You headed home. Tell us, how is Jolie and the experience of being a dad now for the second time?
Well, it's been a great experience. Yeah, she held on for me just in time. You know, I was joking around. I said I had her strapped to the couch until I got back. But yeah, it's just, you know, it's just a wave of emotions, you know, winning a race and then hurrying, doing the winner's circle pictures and hopping on a plane, getting home and making sure I get to be there with her. And yes, everything went well. We have a healthy baby, healthy mama. So it's all we can ask for.
That's exactly right.
Rowdy Wayne, right? Where did the name come from?
I don't know. It just sounds like it's a racing name for sure, but
definitely,
I guess it's a name to remember whatever he does. So perfect fit for us.
Rowdy Wayne Stanfield.
Yep.
RWS. Aaron Stanfield names his son Rowdy. Are you trying to give yourself trouble? Like, what are you doing? Like, I was such an easy kid on my dad, you to your dad. You're going to name your kid Rowdy and you know, give him a pass to be rowdy.
Well, hopefully, you know, we were thinking it would act the opposite way, but you know, that's yet to come. We'll find out for sure.
Oh yeah. You bought the ticket. You're in for the ride, baby.
You're in for the ride.
So tell us what your winter break consists of now. I refuse to use the term off season because nobody quits working. We just don't go to the racetrack as often. But what's winter break like at Stanfield Racing? So
there's definitely no such thing as off season in you know, drag racing or any kind of racing, I'm sure. But yes, we you know, things are full swing here at the shop. So we're back at home working on the factory stock engines and our customers there. And we have several other customers throughout sportsman ranks. And so we've got a lot to do this winter. So I'm sure we'll be doing some testing with the FX car and with the factory stock cars and as well as the pro stock car. So it's definitely it's gonna be busy between having another baby and working in an engine shop and PRI and all the things that come along with it. But that's how we like it.
That's great. How are you done? Is that it? One boy, one girl?
We're going to, unless God has other plans for us, we're going to wait. We're going to wait several years if we decide to have another one. But we're happy with what we've been blessed with for now. So.
Excellent. All right. Go ahead, Alan.
I was just going to say, how much does grandma and grandpa play into this, right? It's like, okay, you guys need to take care of the kids for a weekend so we can get away and just kind of relax.
Oh yeah, 100%. We'll definitely dump them off to the grandparents so we can go racing for sure. Yes, we we were lucky to have on both sides of our family to have great support there. So well, they're eating it up.
Excellent. All right, so getting this win, very important to get a win. Your young pro stock career, Aaron Stanfield, this young superstar, doing great. We're trying to mold this reputation. It was kind of a tough year though. You had a fast car, and just it didn't come together for you guys. But then in the final race, it did. And you were up on the wheel, and you had 14 light first round against Derek Kramer, and you kind of mowed through the field and had a successful day. Took out Troy in the second round. You're 27 on the tree. Greg goes red to you, but you're 32 on the tree. You had a good day on the starting line. Your worst light was a 32, and then you face your old nemesis. I mean, you guys have been nemesis for a while. Not that either of you is that old. Matt Hartford in the final round. You left first and you won the race. That's a great way to end the season. You'll be the final race winner all the way through Gainesville.
Yes, it's definitely something good to sit on through the winter. We had a tough year this year, and we just kept fighting, kept digging, and sometimes things just don't fall your way. And I always say it, when it's your day, it's your day. We had some luck on our side when we needed it in Pomona, and man, I just gotta thank all the guys that work on my hot rod, because they. It's tough when you've got a fast race car and you can win, and it just doesn't happen. But everybody kept digging, and thank you to the Janik brothers, JC3 Energy, all the guys at Elite Motorsports. Man, they work their tails off and give me the best hot rod they can. So just very thankful to be able to get it done there at the last race.
As full as your calendar already is, what's your feeling about Pro Stock going back to the full 21 races next year? Are you looking forward to, okay, great, or is part of you going, yeah, that extra time off was kind of nice?
Definitely the hardest thing about racing is, the traveling sacrifice there with your family. But, I guess I just look at it another couple more opportunities to win. So, and get to, go to some racetracks I haven't gotten to race at too much, and I'm looking forward to it. I think Pro Stock is very healthy category right now, so I think they've deserved and earned the right to be at every national event. So I think it's a good thing.
Interesting. It's not uniform. A lot of people think that's too many races, and I see the breakdown. If you are cutting the check to race, a lot of people think that's too many. Or if you have to leave your business, it might be too many. But at the same time, if you're the person leasing the parts and the pieces and you're like setting up the team, yeah, you want more races because that's more customers. To me, I hate when Pro Stock is not there, is the thing. I think there's just a big void in the whole deal. So whether it's 20 or 21 races next year, how do you think that's going to change some of the competition in the car count?
I personally don't think you'll see a big difference in the car count. It's not like we're going to 6 more races, but it's definitely some more of a time commitment for sure. But I think that Pro Stock is just a huge commitment in itself, and I believe it should be at every national event. So I think we'll see the class continue to grow. I mean, we've got it's saying I call Greg Anderson the old man, but it's saying something with it. When Eric is one of the older drivers in the class, we've got a lot of youth in the class right now, and that's what we need in the sport.
So, Aaron, what is your schedule going to look like next year? I imagine you're still working part of it out, but full 21 Pro Stock races. I'm assuming you're going to go back and defend the Factory Stock Showdown Championship. What about divisionally? Are you planning on spending any time at all in the top dragster, doing any other stuff, or are you going to be sucked up with the 2 cars, the 2 Camaros that you have? So,
the plans aren't totally buttoned up just yet, but I can say that I will not be racing Factory Stock Showdown next year. I think it's a good time to close that chapter and try to push for something else. And I think I'd really like to help some of our customers achieve some of those goals they have. And I think the best way for me to do that is to, put a little more time and effort. And sometimes that requires me to get out of the car. So, yes. So no Factory Stock Showdown, and we're time willing. We're putting our top dragster together this winter. So I might do a little top dragster racing here and there, but nothing, nothing full time or anything like that. Just a couple races if we can squeeze it in. And of course, we are planning on racing the full season of Pro Stock.
Excellent.
And we have an FX car being built as well. So we're trying to work out the details, whether we're going to race a couple races or the whole season.
Now,
Okay.
is your dad still going to run the Factory X car?
My dad's still going to run the whole season in the rod shop car with the Joe Janik owns the car, and we put together some funding so my dad can race the whole season.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Way to go, Greg. No beach, no sun catcher. Get out there. I love it. Hey, Kev, who is in the UK and was the big overall drag race bracket bonanza overall winner, who is a WFO radio listener, by the way. I think he goes on our list. He wants to know about Factory X and Pro Stock. You love them both. You're invested in both. You're doing both. But he says, when do you think Factory X will be bigger than Pro Stock? I don't like the question, you, Kev, because it's like at the expense of Pro Stock, which I don't think it is or isn't intended to be. But we got the right guy to ask. Aaron, what do you think?
I definitely don't think it's intended in any way, shape, or form to replace Pro Stock. I think it's exactly what the manufacturers want and NHRA wants as a class in between the pros. But I do feel like a lot of drag racers are business owners. So these shorter race schedules, these 8 to 10 races, is something a lot of business owners can manage. So it can be a perfect fit for them on, and still be able to compete on a very high level. So I think you're going to see some decent manufacturer support. And I think you're going to see a lot of cars in the next couple years to come. Of course, a lot of things depend on what manufacturers do as far as if they keep making cars or, but as far as I know, they plan on continuing to make parts. The LS world's huge. The Coyote world's huge. The Hemi world's huge. So I see a bright future for it.
I think you just touched on one of the most important things about the category. Is one of the things that's missing in Pro Stock is the brand diversity. I mean, I was around when, Glidden was out there racing, when the Dodge Boys were out there racing, when you could pick your favorite brand. And there just isn't that much diversity in Pro Stock right now. That's one of the things that I think drew a lot of fans to Factory Stock and Factory X as well. Factory Stock this year was so much more fun because the Fords came back. And that gave the Blue Oval folks something to root for. I think as long as Factory X can keep all three of the manufacturers involved, the future there is very bright. Don't you agree?
I agree. We, my dad and I are Chevrolet people, but we also build Coyote engines and Hemi engines. And, I think you have to have it in these classes. You have to have some diversity to give each fan that's something to relate to, something to root for. So I think that's very, very important. I think that's going to be one of the super cool things about this class is being able to have the diversity. Unfortunately, the Pro Stock engines they're very one-off, if you will. Not many people know exactly what they are. And that sometimes I feel like that might create some disinterest in the manufacturers for their support to continue to develop everything. But I think the Factory Stock and the Factory X will be a good place for the manufacturer to come and play.
Can you elaborate a little more on that? Because I agree. I think that people don't fully understand the miracle that is, 3 horsepower per cubic inch naturally aspirated out of a Pro Stock engine. And that's what the problem is. It's too mysterious, but what they're doing with those. And I also think there needs to be a pinnacle of naturally aspirated racing too, right? Like supercharged and boosted stuff is everywhere. And everybody talks about, I'm going to go get a Chinese turbocharger and put it on my junkyard LS. And so they get the idea of a boosted V8. But what is happening under the hood of a Pro Stock car is an amazing accomplishment of engine building. It's just, I don't know. We try to tell the story, but I don't think we do a great job. Kind of talk on that a little bit.
It's definitely difficult to explain. I mean, there's a lot more technology than I think anybody would probably give it credit for. They're probably one of the most powerful naturally aspirated per cubic inch engine on the planet. And, it's like you said, it's the pinnacle of naturally aspirated engines. So I feel like, the details are very important. everything matters. So, you've got your fuel cars where they rebuild the engines every run, but these things are machined and built to perfection. So, when they're running, you need them to stay together because it requires things that you can't do at the racetrack to fix them. But yes, the thing is not many people know what a DRC engine is, and it's just something that's been purposely built by the manufacturers specifically for this class. So, it's very, they're very sophisticated machines.
I think, and God bless GM for staying involved for all these years, right? They've spent a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of engineering to develop that. When Chrysler was making the investment, they had the new generation Hemi stuff out there. That was competitive. The new Ford engine out there, I think if somebody would put that together, we've seen what they've been able to do with it, like on a comp eliminator scale, but I just don't know how many parts or pieces are out there. But when the other manufacturers stopped being involved and stopped making the parts and pieces, it makes it very difficult for a privateer. You mentioned the nitro classes, right? If I want to go build my own cylinder head, I can do that.
Yes.
I can go build my own cylinder head, send it into NHRA, get it approved. As long as it fits in their box, no problem. I can't build my own pro stock head. I mean, not allowed to put a factory part number on it. So that kind of closes the box. But Ford doesn't sell a 500-inch pushrod motor. Chevy doesn't sell one anymore. GM doesn't, or Chrysler doesn't sell one anymore. But the new platform is what everybody's talking about. And I think that's why Factory X and Factory Showdown have been so popular. I talked about 1,000 times, and I mean, no disrespect for the pro stock people. But Aaron, when you're on the starting line, there's not a soul in the stands that points to your pro stock car and says, I've got a car just like that. But when you're on the starting line in your Factory Showdown car, there's a whole lot of people that go, my Camaro's just like that one, even though there obviously doesn't make enough power. But that connection that with the fans, I think, is what's made Factory Showdown so popular and what's going to continue to grow Factory X as long as they can keep it that way. You have to be racing what you're selling.
I completely agree with that. It's just that relatability. They can look at it and know what it is. They're stock dimension cars, and they're LS cars. People have LS hot rods every day that cruise around on the street. So something very, very relatable. And I think the Factory X is a good mix between pro stock and factory stock to kind of get that to get the ET lower where it gets even more interesting and still continue to run off of that baseline platform. But I think just your fuel cars, top fuel, funny car, pro stock motorcycle. I mean, that's NHRA's show, and that's what they push, and we want to race at the highest level, and that's the highest level right now.
Interesting. Factory stock wise, since everybody's interested, there's all these different points of interest with the three manufacturers. There have been a couple of things that have been put like on my radar that are question marks, like the crankshaft center line, the car is unlike anything that's ever been down the racetrack. The overhang at the front of the race cars, pro stock, they're all the same on these cars. They're not. Things that maybe might be an issue with the way the car and the handling. What's on your radar? Like, what do you think? Like, did they nail it? Is it good? Should it stay just like it is? Is this it? Or should they look at a couple of things to make it even better than what it is? And, of course, then the parity, the idea that it's a parity category as opposed to a pure performance category.
I definitely think NHRA should rely on some of their experience. I mean, they have a lot of experience throughout drag racing, and it doesn't necessarily mean us, we don't have all the answers for sure, but I think they should rely on the experience. Do I think it's going to be a great class? Absolutely. Do I think they nailed the rules? Maybe not just yet. And, I think they're definitely open to working with it. But at the end of the day, we got to get some more cars out there and just get to competing and just see how it all goes. The rules have some of the rules have definitely made it challenging to get the cars down the racetrack. And I think it's important that these cars go down the racetrack because nobody wants to, watch a bunch of cars shake the tires on the starting line. So, I think we definitely got some room to grow. We have plenty to learn here at our shop, and we're given our rules, and that's what we've gotten. So we're just gonna continue to build off of that. but I think we definitely have some room to grow.
What happens to the factory stock Showdown?
Clean it up, put a blanket over it.
Let Joe run it in Gainesville.
Yeah, let you run it in Gainesville. I need grading points in Super Street. That won't work, but we'll figure it out.
I'm not going to say that. I might not hop in the car and make a race or two or something like that. But the plan is to not race a full season in it.
Excellent.
So it's gonna sit in the corner for now.
So the championship is available to whoever wants to go and get it. Aaron Stanfield is not defending the title. That's the news. No title defense. Walking away a 3-time FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown world champion, and it is open to whoever wants to do the work to go and get it. That's exciting. I think a lot of people are like, all right, Aaron is doing other things. Let's go get a championship.
Well, we're definitely still going to be heavily involved with the class. So our goal is still to get one of our customers to win a championship. I think that's important and really important to us. So that's what we're striving for here.
I think WFO is the car. I really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Listen, I like to think I can drive something, but not that. Like, hey, let's get back behind the wheel and go, 760s at 180 in a 3,600-pound race car on a 9-inch wide tire. Let's try that, Joe. I feel like you got to warm into that a little bit.
It's definitely crazy how fast they've gotten. It's truly incredible. I mean, that's a heavy car going really fast on a small tire, and it's sometimes I scratch my head. How in the heck did we do that?
Yeah. No, they're amazing. They're amazing cars. I love calling them. I wish they'd let you guys do a burnout across the starting line, though. That's my only beef with the category as a whole. I feel like they've nailed everything, but give us a little more. This is just me. I don't know what you think, Alan. I know it's a stock eliminator class style, so they can't burn out across the starting line, but I would love a little more time to talk about each person because the class runs so fast.
Yeah, that would definitely shake some things up. You could, in those cars, once you start your burnout, you could probably do one to the finish line. So they've got an overabundance of power. So when you get the tires spinning, they stay spinning.
Hey, let's get away from factory stock and factory X for a minute. Have you got anything in the shop you're working on, just kind of like a side project, a goofy project, a one-off project? You got anything like that going on?
Let's see. We've got just a lot of stock and super stock stuff. We're doing one of the NA 10.5 classes in the NMCA. We're doing one of those small block Fords for one of our guys that works here in the shop, his dad. And that's a pretty cool. It's like a comp eliminator style engine, but it's got a lot of that pro stock mentality. It's a naturally aspirated engine, so that's a pretty fun little project. And just a lot of nothing too new at the moment, but a lot of stock and super stock stuff.
Excellent. Aaron, we're going to let you go. We've got stuff to do and things to go. And congratulations on your win at the In-N-Out Burger Finals. Season in general, I felt like it was great seeing you out there. I'm excited about 2024. And since we got you, I guess, final thought, the Mission Foods era, the beginning of a new era in drag racing. And, we want to welcome them. Of course, Camping World's still involved, but that's pretty exciting to me. What about you?
Absolutely. Anytime you can get a company like that in a family owned, it's a privately owned business, I believe. So to be able to come and support our passion, I think it's a great thing. I've heard some talks about maybe some payout increases. I think that's always great, and keeps racers wanting to come back. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they were able to work out and keep Camping World involved. I think these are two great companies that I'm glad they're working with us.
Excellent. Aaron, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Please say hi to Jolie and your dad and everybody over there.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
There we go.
Take care, man. We'll see you at PRI.
See you at PRI.
PRI coming. Aaron Stanfield with us here on WFO Radio. What a fine young man, Alan. Right? I feel weird saying that. That means I'm old. But there's so many, irons in the fire with the Showdown and the Factory X. And you mentioned Top Dragster and, of course, Pro Stock. And to think his dad was going to retire and Aaron is the one that motivated his pop to keep going.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that he's not going to come back and defend the title in factory stock Showdown. So that, obviously it'll open up the field a little bit, but there's plenty of fast cars out there. And if he's going to spend more time concentrating on tuning and helping his customers, then that's certainly going to make them even stronger than they already were. But nobody will be out there wearing the one, at least not full time next year. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. What a great year it was of a FlexJet factory stock Showdown, but it is open. And, the Lenny Lodigs of the world and the Jesse Alexandras and everybody that has kind of stepped in and had a great year. Like, it was a year of parity. The wins were all over the place, and Aaron got it done by being consistently good. It's going to be a lot of fun in 2024. Let's get back to the Camping World Series. Everything that we talk about last year is the Camping World Series. Everything we talk about in the future is the Mission Food Series. But let's talk Funny Car, where Matt Hagan becomes a 4-time champion, but not in the way anybody would have imagined. And I think that is the beauty and the amazement of our sport. Is like, we've got this winner take all final in Top Fuel, but Funny Car, everybody smoked the tires, and Matt Hagan wins by Robert Height smoking the tires, last of the 3. Like, you just wouldn't have expected that to be how it happened, and yet that's how it happened.
Well, it's exactly the same thing that happened last year. It's just that Top Fuel and Funny Car switched roles.
Right.
Last year we came in with the Funny Car, with the Top Fuel folks, and people thinking, okay, there's 4 or 5 of them that have legitimate shot, and we're all looking at the ladder going, boy, when we get to the semifinals, this is going to be really exciting. And then first round, it was over. And this year, the Funny Cars, everybody's looking at the ladder and going, wow, semifinals, finals, this could be, this could be the deal. And second round was over. But Top Fuel picked up and ran on last year. The Funny Car fight came down to 3 points at the end of the day after the Top Fuel thing was a little anticlimactic. So, that's the old story, right? There's a reason why we drag them up there and race them, because you really don't know what's going to happen. If you just looked at qualifying, looked at the ladder and said, okay, well, Joe's got a really fast car and Alan's car is not very fast, so let's just go ahead and pencil Joe into the semifinals. But it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah, that's why there's Drag Race Bracket Bonanza.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, which am I going to pick? So Hagan
I think
wins.
Paul Lee ruined a bunch of people's Drag Race Bracket Bonanzas the last couple of weeks, don't you?
Yeah, they did. And but that's what made it fun, and that's why UKEV gets to be a superhero for all the way till March, because he is the final overall champion of that deal, got the belt and everything. Tony Stewart is now a championship-winning team owner in NHRA drag racing. Had a great year, right? Third, Top Fuel. I don't know where he ended up in Top Alcohol Dragster. I think second. And first with Matt Hagan and that team, and Dickie and Alex and those guys. What a great motivator. I had a chance to speak with him. I know you did. Clearly a great addition to the sport of NHRA drag racing. But wow, what great success that they had this season.
I talked to Tony in the winter circle just briefly when he was up there with Matt. I did kind of a drive-by before I headed out and went down to the resort to start getting ready for the award ceremony. But I told him, I said, you had a pretty close to perfect day. And he said, I was 0.05 of a second from quitting. And he laughed and he said, we win both of them. He goes, where are you going from there? He says, like, drop Mike. Anybody want to buy this junk? I'm done. But, I think, he certainly has fallen in love with NHRA, and we're very grateful to have him, both from a team owner standpoint, as well as from a competitor standpoint. The finishing second in his first full year out there, I think is going to make him about as hungry as losing to Madison in his first final round by such a close margin. It's like, okay, now I got to come back and prove I can do this. I think that's terrific. I don't know, you were there, so you heard, but I don't know how many people, or maybe, no, it was actually, it was after the ceremony was over, but Julie is coming back next year. She will be back to defend her title. Hunter Green is locked in, racing with Randy Meyer on a pretty close to full-time basis. So that's 2 really good cars out there. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of shuffling moving around over as far as the McPhillips goes. If Angel is full-time in the Samsel ride, then she's going to be a force. And if not, then whoever sits in that car, we've seen that over the course of certainly the last year, but the last couple of years, whoever sits in that Samsel car is somebody you got to deal with. So that class looking very healthy. Joey obviously is coming back. Sean's coming back. I think James Stevens is as hungry as ever. So looking really, really good over there on the alcohol dragster side of things right now.
My buddy Earl Nichols is out there saying he's waiting for me to say even Earl Nichols, but I'm not going to do it, Earl. I'm not doing it, Earl. I'm letting it go. I'm just leaving it. Well, right. Top alcohol dragster. That class alone, like put everything of NHRA drag racing all aside. Just thinking about the championship battle and the class that was last year with Julie winning and next year. How exciting is that? That is a class that is, to quote Lil Tay, it'd be popping.
Yeah, it definitely is. When you end the season with a all-time record bump spot, which we did in Pomona, and you end the day like we did in Pomona with Hunter Green picking up the win under the lights out there, joining his dad in the winner's circle, which obviously was a cool story. But, you just look at top to bottom how competitive the cars are. I love the fact that there are guys out there like James Stevens that are making the commitment to come out there and bring out some more blown alcohol cars, because I think the variety is a big part of the class, right?
Yes.
If you have, 20 injected nitro cars and the only 2 blown cars that are out there on a regular basis are Sean Cowie and Joey Severance, I think that takes away from the class, kind of like years ago when you would have 20 alcohol cars and you'd have 2 of these novelty injected nitro cars. There needs to be more of them out there. It'd be nice if we get Chris Demke back out there on a more regular basis, right? Got a good car, got a good team. It's just more fun when you see the diversity in the category. But right now, there's a lot to be celebrating and a lot to be liking about the alcohol dragster category.
Yes, absolutely. Just a great finals all across the board. Lenny Loddig out there watching the show, right? He's got a target on that world championship for next year. I'm sure that's going to be interesting. Factory X as well. Wanted to get back to Funny Car just in that we went on a tangent because I want to mention Chad Green and Daniel Wilkerson and the Wilkerson final round. Like we lost. I don't want to use the word lost because it's a negative word, but the championship was decided the way it was, which opened up the door for another amazing story, like a personal story, like a feel-good story, father driver versus son crew chief, while the Greens are trying to double up as father and son, like all these different permutations of things that are happening. That is so NHRA drag racing. Nobody else has that. We have it. We've got all these sports going on. Top Fuel's doing its thing. Funny Car's got its own thing. And something that I really wanted to happen, you and I have spoken about it. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Daniel Wilkerson. I don't know anybody that says, that kid runs his mouth.
Tim, a week ago Sunday.
Yes, Tim,
you ungrateful little brat.
Those are the breaks.
After all I've done for you.
Those are the breaks, Tim. The kid's coming for you, the young lion. That's the way it is. And Chad Green also, because he's a great guy. I know you know him. And he's invested a lot in this and done it the right way. Right? He's won now in Pro Mod. He's won now in Nitro Funny Car. He's a race winner. He goes to the starting line to rip your throat out like it's personal for him. He's out there to beat you. And he is now a race winner. Like for Doug Kalitta, from one moment to the next, he had this thing and now he's a champion. Chad Green. Now he's a guy who knows how to win. And Daniel Wilkerson is too. Yeah.
And they've had, they were maybe the biggest positive surprise of the year in Funny Car. The last couple of years, they've had an okay car, but I mean, let's be honest, they weren't really a threat to win until this season. And then when they come out and they win the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge right off the bat, and I think that kind of served notice to everybody that, hey guys, we are for real, right? You go to Gainesville, you go to the semifinals, it's like, okay, yeah, it's, first race of the season and it's a classic, right? Let's see them do it again. Then they did it again and again and again and again. And by the time we had left Vegas and headed back to the eastern part of the country, I think everybody in the category realized those guys are for real, right? The first race or two, that wasn't a flash in the pan. That wasn't good for it. Those guys are for real. And they continued to prove that all year long. I love the fact that Daniel, that everybody talks about the no filter thing. And yeah, it's fun to watch him show all the personality, but I really enjoy the fact that he tells it straight, right? I mean, there's a lot of crew chiefs that wouldn't go up there, stand in front of the camera and say, I messed that up. I cost our team. I made a mistake. I screwed up, and be, just very open and very honest about what was going on and what was happening with his team. And I think that's refreshing as well. The over-the-top personality is great, but I really appreciate a guy that'll stand there and not go, well, gee, something, I'm not sure. We'll have to get back to it. That'll stand there and go, I messed up. The reason we lost that race is my fault. And I think that kind of openness and honesty is something that really endears him. And I wish there'd be more of it out there, because, people make mistakes, right? And I don't think anybody's going to chase after anybody with a lynch mob. But, if you make a mistake and you stand there and go, look, I feel bad, I cost my team that event, I did it, I think that really endears you to the fans. And I really believe that that's part of why everybody likes Dan so much. Not just because, he's going to slip in an S-bomb from time to time, or he's going to, but the fact that he will really tell it like it is, both the good and the bad.
Yes. I remember, maybe it was Atlanta a couple of years ago when they were part-timing. It hasn't always been pretty. There have been some unfortunate moments on the starting line with Daniel, the car getting pushed off, and he always tells you exactly what it is. He'll say words like, I'm an idiot, I did this, or, oh, that's on me. And nobody does that. And that's why we like him. And it's a lesson. It's a lesson to everybody. Like, be your genuine self. But at the same time, Daniel doesn't have to worry about getting fired either, right? Because he's not working for like a boss. He's working for his dad boss, and his dad is coaching him up. And Tim said that Daniel came over there and they needed a set of cylinder heads, and he robbed a set of cylinder heads from Tim's batch without permission. And they just took the cylinder heads from Tim's allotment and put it on Chad's car and then beat Tim in the final. And so that's kind of a cool aspect of the family racing team as well, that can happen. But I'm happy for those guys. Joe Maynard, who is on board with that car, Joe and Kathy Maynard Racing. They got a little Wilkerson versus Green final round. A lot of people were happy with the way that final round turned out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, once the championship battle was over, it's like, okay, well, is there still a reason to watch Funny Car? And you look at the four that were left at the time, and yes, there's still a very good reason to watch Funny Car, because of the four that were left and because of the dynamic. Could this be the day that Chad gets his first? Will Tim pick up his third? Which, Tim doesn't win three in a season on a regular basis. So, and there was still some shuffling around that was going to be happening in the points, even though the top three were knocked down. So, there was still plenty to watch for. And I really feel kind of the same thing about the Top Fuel final. I mean, as much as Tim wanted to win it, even he had to be looking over there going, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm glad that Chad got his first one. I'm glad that my kid got that one. And, the father and child winning Funny Car and Alcohol Dragster in Pomona, that hasn't happened in a while either. So it was cool to see that happen again. If
Yes, absolutely. I want to mention,
if you don't remember when it happened before, I'm going to be embarrassed for you.
Oh, well, I'm looking up a Cruz Pedregon stat. What are we even talking about? The last time a father and son won.
Father and child
Won
Funny Car and Alcohol Dragster in Pomona.
A father and child.
Yes. That was a big hint.
A father
and child.
And a child. I don't know.
Not son, child.
Oh, it's a daughter. So it's like John Force and Ashley.
There you go.
There it is. And child. Look at that.
It took a while to get you there, but at least we got you there.
Well, I'm looking up a story because, there's all these different things that are happening, but unannounced. Who's here, who's there, who's still with whom, all that stuff. And I don't want to get blindsided by a story that's out and I just don't know about it. But I guess that's what PRI is for. I want to mention Caps, though.
Well, wait a minute. You said you were looking up Cruz Pedregon. I assume you heard that he and JC have parted ways.
Yes, that I do know. But I'm looking at the feeds, and here it is. One has agreed to mutually part ways with John Collins. I thank him for his hard work and wish him nothing but the best, Cruz Pedregon. I knew that was a thing, but I'm wondering what the next thing is going to be, and if that has been announced, what the next thing is. And I'm looking at the feed, and I don't see it, because they actually put together a pretty good little race.
Well, the next thing you're going to hear is, WFO Radio was happy to announce that JC is coming on board, because I don't believe he's going to be employed very long.
John Collins, of all the things that are out there in the universe, the one thing that we can all mutually guarantee is not happening is for him to join as a podcast host. That's not his thing. He could become a professional grill meister. He's very good.
I meant you were going to hire him to run your funny car.
Oh, well, I could definitely hire him to run the funny car. He's a very qualified individual and will be hired immediately. That's what I'm saying. Like the silly season stuff that is about to drop on everybody as we get ready for Mission Foods drag racing is going to be amazing.
By the way, keep your eye on Ypsilanti Facebook Marketplace, because I think there's going to be a Top Fuel canopy for sale cheap.
Yeah, you think so?
I can't believe they haven't sold it yet.
Somebody asked about that, and here it is. Do you think Doug still pulls it off if the tire incident doesn't happen in Reading, thus forcing them to switch away from the canopy car? And is it as simple as it's the canopy, or is it just a whole host of other things that this car happened to be better for the situation?
I think the second one. Can you win with a canopy? Obviously, look what Brittany did. And can you win without a canopy? Look what Steve did. Obviously Tony Schumacher won a lot of them with a canopy, Antron with a canopy. You can do it both ways, right? I don't think one is a huge advantage over the other either way. I think a lot of it is personal preference stuff, but for whatever reason, when they were forced to bring out the backup car, it just clicked. And we've seen it time and time and time again over the years, right? You realize that, wow, if you had that horse in the trailer the whole time, why was it locked in the trailer the whole time? Because you believed in the program that you were working on, you believed in the car that you were running. But we've seen it happen, whether somebody hurts a car or whether somebody, decides, what, this one's just not working. Let's bring out the backup car and let's see it. And it just clicks. So I would be surprised. I wouldn't faint, I don't think, but I would be very surprised if Doug shows up with a canopy on the car again when we get to testing, or when they get down to Gainesville next year.
The good news is we can ask him tomorrow. He'll be on 12 noon Eastern time. Doug, the canopy, would you go back to that? Let's see what he says. Hopefully everybody will like and click the bell. It's right there available for you to like on it for a reminder, so you do not miss the show live tomorrow. It is there right above this one as you are watching right now. Just a couple other funny car notes, things I want to mention. I've been wanting to say, Ron Capps, right? Like, what an amazing run, back-to-back championships, won the U.S. Nationals in the Don the Snake car. The racing god said, all right, enough for you. Like, that's where the run ends. Like, you win the U.S. Nationals in the Don the Snake scheme. That's where this little run for Ron Capps ends as champion. But you got to talk about what a run they had. That's pretty amazing. And I just saw that Capps has renewed with Toyota Racing for 3 more years. He put that on his social.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine why either one of those entities would want to part ways, Ron didn't have the year this year that he had the last 2, but he was still out there winning races. He was still out there doing what he was supposed to do. And, and I can't imagine that Ron loves what he gets from Toyota as far as the engineering support, as far as all of, the track reports and that kind of thing, loves it. So that doesn't surprise me in the least. I think it's interesting though, because if you told Ron, okay, look, here's the deal. You can win another championship, or you could potentially win another championship. You're going to smoke the tires first round at Indy in the Prudhomme car, or you could win Indy, but sorry, the championship just isn't going to land in your lap this year. Which one would you choose? Because obviously the championship probably pays a little more, but the moment, and since Ron already now has 3 championships, if he didn't have a championship yet, that's a different deal. But since he already has 3 championships, I think he would have gone, give me that Snake moment, because, they've been through so much together, and Ron owes so much of his career to Snake taking a chance on him when he was a relative unknown guy, part-time Top Fuel driver. So I think I think that, if there's a moment of the year, that's the moment of the year, even bigger than Doug Kalitta winning the championship.
Okay, so, well, I'm thinking that thought while you're talking. That's the thought. What is the moment of the year? And this is a great winter break conversation. We don't have to have it now. Maybe everybody can think about theirs, but Capps winning the U.S. Nationals with Snake on the starting line in the Snake car was definitely the moment of the year up until the moment Doug Kalitta won a winner-take-all final round to become champion at Pomona. I think it's a very good debate to have. Why, like, I could see people going either way. And I'm leaning towards Doug, as big a deal as it was for Snake to give me a hug on the starting line.
Okay, well, I'll give you my logic. And, if you want to kick this around or if you just want to fire back, here's my logic. The Prudhomme moment will never happen again.
Okay, well, as
there
far
was
as we know,
one shot to make that happen. It happened. It'll never happen again. And I don't think there's anybody that would be stunned if Doug Kalitta wins another championship over the course of the next few years.
I definitely, that's good logic, unless they come back with an Army car, which is, Caps has been flirting with that, right? Teasing it out there, like maybe we'll have a white Army car. Like, what? But we'll see. No, but isn't this a great conversation to have, right? Like, what a great debate. Two amazing historic moments, one for Doug, one for Caps, both this season. Great stuff. Just want to shout out Blake Alexander. I want to say Blake Alexander and Paul Lee. I'm looking at the ladder. They ran each other first round. Paul Lee turned the corner, the final quarter of the year. Excited for Paul, of course, friend of WFO, and for Blake and Jim Head to have the season that they had. They won a race. They made some finals. They went deep in eliminations. They had a good year. Didn't make the countdown, but when you win a Wally and you bring something home, I think that's a good year.
Well, and for Jim to do it at home, I think that was a big deal because he very studiously keeps his business and his racing separate. There's not crossover, like, Kalitta Motorsports is basically based around the corner from Kalitta Air. There's a lot of the people that work on the air side that are familiar with the race side. And there's a lot of people on the race side during the COVID shutdown that actually went to work on the air side. But Jim is very studious about keeping those two entities separate. The one place they come together, though, is when we're in Norwalk, because that's a time when people from his office, most of the work he does isn't in Ohio. So, right, it's not like, he had people in the Kansas coming out to the Kansas race because he's doing a job literally across the street. But as far as friends and family and supporters and office people and that kind of thing, that's the one chance that they would get to come out and watch the funny car, and that he was able to perform for them there, I think made it even more special. Winning a race is always great. Winning your home race is more great.
Yes. And Daniel Wilkerson is out there watching the show. WFO, right? Like, this is a celebrity audience, and he'll be on. We have discussed it. He's going to be on the Dan Wilkerson edition. He says steal is a strong word in regards to those heads. I brought up borrowing them. They were left for Vegas. Said something to the effect of the odds of both of us being in the finals, ... are pretty slim. So will there be enough heads between us? Seems like permission to me, is what he says. I'm quoting your dad, Daniel. Like, he said the word steal. I didn't say the word steal. He told me the word steal. At least that's how I remember it. But, who remembers anything anyway?
Did he return them? If he returned them, that's borrowed.
Right. Like, it's steal until the victory. And then thank you. These heads were great.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Well, send
Thanks, Dad.
Send us an invoice.
Yeah.
Now get out of here. Get your shine box. No, kidding. All right. Pro stock. Got to get there, right? So much to talk about. We got a whole winter break to talk about all of this stuff, but interesting.
Well, we haven't done this in 3 weeks, so it would stand to reason that we'd be a little behind on stories.
Thank you for bringing that up, Alan. That's absolutely correct, sir. We haven't, with the awards banquet last Monday, and you did a fine job at the Lucas Oil Awards banquet, and everybody's speeches were great and it went very quickly. And Julie was amazing. Like, Julie Natas, she there's that word deserves again, right? You got to earn it. You don't deserve it, says Steve Torrence. And he's right, but she deserves a top fuel ride. The girl is so well-spoken and puts her emotions out there and gives a great speech, and just a great driver, and hundreds of other things. Final round, Aaron, we did talk pro stock with Aaron, but we didn't talk about, Hartford. What a year he had. Erica winning the world championship. 6 championships for Erica. Just continues to strive ahead. No signs of stopping. The girl gets it done when she needs to, and that whole team elite has been amazing. That having all been said, Matt Hartford, 3rd in the points, had a shot at 2nd, had to win the final round, lost the 2 Pomona finals by less than 5 thou, and that is a team that had a breakout season from the pack. They are no longer the one race a year team that, finds a way into the winner's circle, which, by the way, a lot of people would love to be that team that wins one a year only, right? Now they won 3, including the U.S. Nationals, made 5 final rounds, a bunch of number 1 qualifiers. They didn't have one of those at the start of this season. And then they race each other, right, in the semifinals. And Hartford goes to the final, loses to Aaron. But in the end, Erica, and a great speech by Erica, did a fantastic job at the awards.
Yeah, I mean, for Aaron Stanfield, certainly he's happy he won the race. But, the price of rings went up for Stanfield Racing. I don't know if you know this or not, but there was, new price sheet came out Monday morning. This is, the price sheet for everybody. This is the price sheet for, Stanfield Racing engines. So, congratulations, Aaron. You might not have done yourself any favors there.
Right.
But, Matt did have a really good year, a breakout year. And you mentioned winning Indy. I think the bigger story than winning Indy is the comeback in Reading. I think that just the way that whole weekend went, when you're Saturday night sitting around going, we're so screwed up that we can't fix this unless we go someplace.
Yeah.
Because we need to run the car in order to fix it. You obviously can't run the car Saturday night at the racetrack. So, let's call us a flatbed wrecker and let's take this thing out, see if we can make it happen. And then they came back and won the race. And I think that was, I thought that was pretty spectacular. But no, those guys, they've definitely arrived. They had a very, very happy race car. And that's another one of the things that, for people that don't live in the pro stock world, I think it's hard to understand, what you can do. Why can't you just do it every week? You just can't. And why, how can you be so lost and then so found, or the other way around? And it's a whole lot easier to get lost when you're found than it is to find yourself when you're lost. But you just look at Erica. I mean, there's nothing different in the first part of the season and the second part of the season for Erica, except they made the car happy. And I guarantee you, if Mark Ingersoll or Freeman or any of the guys over there had known, well, you know what, it's that shock, they'd have fixed the thing in Arizona. They wouldn't have waited until the middle of the year to get the thing squared away and get it together. You keep searching, you keep looking. And once the car was happy, then she was in great shape. And, Matt had a really happy car for the vast majority of the year. And I think even he would tell you that they should have won probably 5 or 6 races instead of 3. But they've got every tool in place over there to go out and contend for the championship again next year. And I expect him to do that, assuming that he makes the 21 race commitment. And I know that he was one of the guys, and you kind of alluded to it without mentioning names, but he has got so much on his plate with running the business and running the company and running that all of that extra time away is difficult. So I hope he makes the commitment, because if he does, the class will be stronger having him there.
Yeah, my argument is it's better for Total Seal for him to be at all the races. And I know he's got to run it because he's a hands-on CEO, but this year was great for Total Seal because it was on TV every time. Like this guy that we're going to get the rings from, he's also a race winning one of the U.S. Nationals. I think there's value in that, says the folks at Mission Foods and everybody that's getting involved with drag racing. So I think it makes sense. Pro Stock, amazing. Yes, we're going to have Erica Enders on WFO Radio. So subscribe, click the bell, download the app, subscribe to the podcast, write us a review. You're going to hear every champion on WFO Radio on this winter break, every single one of them. And other guests as well, plus our big holiday party. It's going to be great. We had the big awards banquet. Like, everybody looked great, including Gaige Herrera. We got to mention Gaige. Did a great job with his speech. Breakout, is he a superstar? The guy had the best single season win percentage-wise in the history of NHRA. He went 50-4. And his personal evolution as a media personality. Like, I love talking to Gaige. He tells you stuff. He's not afraid to say abrasive things. I hear more people are coming after me. That's great. I love that. Bring it on. He'll say things like that. He's new and we're getting used to him, but what a burst onto the scene kind of moment for Gaige Herrera.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. As difficult as it is to ride a pro stock motorcycle, even for those who have ridden other bikes, and everybody that comes in, whether you've got, a no bar background, or if you raced funny bikes, or, whatever you raced over on the AMA side, pro stock motorcycles are such a finesse machine. There's really no way to learn how to ride one other than riding one. And spending the time that he did on the Stouffer bike with Gary and Karen and working that out and learning to ride. Oh, wait, my computer's going dark here. Wait.
Alan Reinhart making moves, computer moves.
There we go. I just had to plug it in. But learning how to ride the bike on a bike that really wasn't competitive was the difference. So when he got on that thing, he was ready to go and ready to show his stuff. And it's a way, way, way different thing in different scale. But I think that, you look at how many years was Erica out there in a car that wasn't competitive? When she was driving the Cunningham car, when she was driving some of the other machines out there, that really her chances to win were less than zero. But she was practicing her craft. She was learning what to do, how to be the best driver she could. So when she got into a car that was competitive, she wouldn't have the learning curve. It's like, let's go and let's go now. And didn't make, when she started driving for Elite, she didn't make any rookie mistakes because she had gotten all those out of the way. And it was a much smaller sample size, but I think it was the same thing for Gaige. When he started riding that motorcycle, he had already learned and gotten all of his rookie mistakes out of the way, even though he did it so far out of the spotlight that nobody was paying attention. But when he got on that bike, it was like click, bang, and just unbelievable right from the hit.
Yeah. And he said in the media center at the conclusion of the race that in the winter break, he's got like a $50,000 grudge race that he's going to be involved in. And like that whole universe has made him into what he is and why he can handle the difficult situations. And he said flat out, if he, people want him to let Eddie win his 50th, that if he let Eddie win, that Eddie would be very angry at him. And that's something that everybody needs to think about. Like, yeah, hey, I let you win your 50th. That's not a cool thing. Eddie 0-7 against Gaige, but dude finishes second. Like, what a great year, Eddie, but got hammered like by a hammer, and he's the nail.
Yeah, and a bike that races out of his own shop and a bike that he works on. Keep in mind, Gaige Monday through Friday goes back in the real world and makes a living. Eddie Monday through Friday goes back to the shop at Vance and Hines in Brownsburg, Indiana, and tries to make Gaige's bike fast. So I don't know. Just want to. Hey Gaige, let me set that rear tire pressure for you. Okay, you're good now.
Exactly. Well, they could have definitely done that. Like Vance and Hines could have gone in there and like, all right, this is the slow run for Gaige, and Eddie's going to get his 50th win, and we're going to have that celebration. And no, but Pro Stock Motorcycle, like the rest of the field, needs to step up. Matt Smith switching back to Buells, might bring out 5 bikes. There's all of that stuff going on. Going to be very interesting to see. And we're going to talk about all of it. All right. What else stuck out in your mind as we get ready to part ways, at very least until next week for the Thanksgiving break?
Well, Wyatt Wagner, I think, when he decided he needed to come west and then ended up winning the Vegas divisional and then going to Pomona and winning, and again, it's kind of off the radar, but I don't know how many people realize he posted 743. That's like one of the top 6 or 7 highest scores ever in the sportsman ranks. 5 of his 8 races were wins. One of them was a final round. And, when you're talking, 730, 740, 750, you're talking Biondo. I think Scotty Richardson 1 year, but that's pretty rare air. And when he came out with the pressure on and was able to close the deal, and then even after the pressure was off, when he was the champion, the fact that he able to just keep his hammer down, keep his foot down, and keep winning, pretty impressive stuff for a guy that just turned 22 years old. I think, if he decides that he's going to stick with this, he could have a very bright, very long future in the sport. But that was an impressive performance.
Absolutely. And, he told me weeks before, it's a long shot, but we're going to go do it. And, the JCM driver development program, they've been on board with Wyatt and they scored. And, Tim, they had a pretty good day. Joe Maynard had a pretty good day at the end of the season. And Wyatt and Scott did a great job. They've been very friendly this year since I did the D5 banquet last year. We hung out and good people. Good to see good things happen to good people. The rest of the winners, Hunter Green, Sean Bellemere, of course, Ralph Van Papagem wins comp, Wyatt, Leo, Glassbrenner in stock, who I spaced on Leo's name. I'm looking at Leo down there, and I'm on the stage, and I'm like, it's just not coming up. And he goes, Leo Glassbrenner. And I'm like, thank you. It's been a long season, long week. Sorry, Leo. I didn't have to tell anybody that, but it happened. John Labuse, two-time champ. Steve Williams made the stage, was our last interview. Great job. Brian War, Grant Dury, and Cash and Fry, our junior dragster, a winner. Like a great finals. Like that's it. In-N-Out Burger Finals. And so here's my segue. Final thought. The Vegas Formula One race. It was really interesting. I don't know if you got to watch it. I watched it the next morning because it started so late, but it was one of the most watched Formula One races of the season. And we were just in Vegas. Our hotel that we stay in is right in the middle of the track, and we had to deal with all the traffic. But for me, it was illuminating to see how much money can be spent and also made by watching fast cars race. Guys with helmets, putting on helmets, getting into fast cars, how big it can be. And I thought it was a great race and I enjoyed it greatly. But when I put it and the stories and everything that goes along with it next to the experience that we had at the In-N-Out Burger Finals at In-N-Out Burger Pomona Dragstrip with, frankly, In-N-Out being there and just all the different stuff, I feel like they were certainly on par, and I think our time was a better time. I think, and maybe I'm a drag racer, that's probably the reason, but I love Formula One, you know that. I think we had a better story with all of our different winners and all the different stories and all of these amazing things, and there's a lot to be learned from the fact that they're spending $560 million for one race. It tells me there's a lot of people that are willing to pay to watch cars go fast, and that's what we have, cars that go fast. 100 miles an hour faster, in fact.
Yeah, well, I'm not a Formula One guy, and I think that, they suffered from the fact that the championship was locked up, so they didn't have that drama to watch. Verstappen, if we had gone into the In-N-Out Burger Finals and the only class we were running was Pro Stock Motorcycle, there wouldn't have been that much interest simply because the year that Gaige had, right? I mean, when it's locked up going in, it's just not that exciting. I think that at the end of it, everything that I read, and I did not watch the race, but I think everything that I read was it ended up, because the race was good, that kind of saved what was some of the other experiences that weren't so good. The Thursday night practice stuff and the fact that, the weather wasn't Chamber of Commerce. It fascinates me that, they spend that much money. And then after they got into it, they went, wait a minute, you mean it gets cold in Las Vegas in November? It's like, yeah, guys. I think it was quite a learning experience. And I hope that next year they learn from what they did. But like I said, everything I read about it was the race was so positive that it kind of overshadowed the fact that some of the rest of the experience wasn't great.
Yeah, well, they made a bad call on Thursday by taking people's money and then kicking them out. Oh, sorry, tracks are ruined. Get out of here. See you later. That's a problem. They did have some issues, but to me, it's just about scale, and that's the top of the scale. And we've got a good show and good product and good racers and awesome cars and a great ability to put fans right into the middle of it all. And I don't know. I think some of those Formula One people would love drag racing too. We should market towards them. Alan, great job as usual. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And
thanks, Joe.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Nothing. I'm going to be at the shop. I'm going to try to get some stuff done. I've got a lot of catching up to do. I've been spending a little time around the house the last couple of days. So it's going to be kind of a quiet week for me, but I'm going to lay low.
Yeah, lay low. As soon as I got home, I'm still jet lagged. I'm not right. I'm that's normal, but I'm not right. But whatever. I'll get right eventually. Happy Thanksgiving, Alan. And
you as well.
See
you next week.
There he goes. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joins us each week right here on WFO with Insight. Look at this. Daniel Wilkerson says, we're going to buy the heads. That's it. Yeah, now we're going to buy them. We'll just hold on to these. They work. Yeah, good set of heads. Thank you. We'll be purchasing them. Billy says the 80% of F1 is the allure. Netflix blew that up, in my humble opinion. I think F1 fans shouldn't really, what is it? That F1 fans wouldn't really know fast unless you tell them what fast is. I don't know about that. I think a lot of my drag racing friends are also F1 fans. You know, when we talked to Michael Heiner on the Patreon only Hear It From Heiner show, which was maybe the best show of the entire year this year, as we broke down the awards ceremony and showed great photographs of everybody and, you know, got Heiner's opinion. He's F1, Doc Surface, Leanne are F1. A lot of people are F1 fans. We love drag racing. We love F1. Yeah, not good to hate, right? They just put on one of the biggest sporting events in world history, taking over an entire city. And it was a great success, except for one bad customer service call, which was terrible and horrible. And also a drain came up. But other than that, they nailed it pretty well. The awards banquet, great stuff. Can't even see these pictures, but we had a wonderful time. And Nick Galvin on stage at the after party, Austin Prock, so many storylines, guys. Julie giving her speech out there. She's preparing for her speech right there. She was so intense and focused. Absolutely loved it. The experience that we had out there. And look at these guys. Look at these guys. And there's one for you. Alan Johnson is back on top. And I know it's easy to say right now, well, of course he's back on top. He's Alan Johnson. He's the greatest of all time and everything. But until you're back, you're not back. And Alan Johnson is back. And so like the drag race world, I got a couple of final thoughts I want to tell you about. Put your comments in the comment section. Yeah, the show has gone a little bit long today, but, you know, talkative after the 8 hours in the car yesterday, bringing my trailer to see Michael Scott at Wright Trailers in Lakeland, Florida. Very exciting experience. We had a good time. Me and my friend Rick McDonough brought my old race car trailer up to get some repairs, some much needed repairs. There's Mike from Wright Trailers right there. And what was going to happen, right? Was it where I was going to blow tires out the entire way? I had everything set up. I had a couple of spares in the back of the truck. I had impact wrenches, battery powered ones getting ready. Jack, I was going to be like a pit crew going out there, changing tires on the trailer. Went up US 27 and it took about, call it 4 hours from where I live down here in Hollywood area, but made it, no flats. Dropped off the trailer and, there's some rust things. The rear door hinge is rusted off. And so I'm like, I brought it to places here in South Florida. Hey, what do you think about this? They're afraid. No, well, we don't want to touch that because, that trailer, it's a nice trailer and we do lawn trailers and that kind of thing. And the folks at Wright Trailers, they're going to tackle it. So we'll see what happens. Good luck, Mike. Project Pontiac needs a home, needs a way to get to the racetrack. Your thoughts on the season and your random thoughts going forward, post them in the chat section right now. I want to hear what you have to say. Guests for the winter break that are not champions, because we're going to get all the champions in every category. We're going to get Julie. We're going to get Doug. We're going to get all the champs. Bruno, we're going to get all the champs in every category are going to be on WFO Radio. Of course, we're going to have our holiday extravaganza. Once again, these are things that happen in the WFO universe. Will there be a happy hour with alcohol involved? Of course, there will definitely be a happy hour with alcohol involved. All of these things are happening on WFO. So subscribe, click the bell, and definitely share the show. Download the app. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. Let me thank the people who make it possible. And then I'll get into some thoughts from the awards banquet and a couple of final thoughts and something cool that is going on NHRA.com right now. First, WFO gear. It's on sale. T-shirts are $16. You can get the fire shirt. Fire! You can get all of this stuff on sale. The link is already in the chat section, right at the very start of the chat. It's amazing that this thing is going on sale for so long. It's been on sale for over a week now. And I guess it's their Black Friday sale. But there's all kinds of WFO stuff. And if you're going to buy WFO gear and you're going to rep the brand because it be poppin', and if you don't get that joke, you obviously weren't watching NHRA.TV when we were on at the finals. I don't want you to pay full price. And that's why I really go heavily promotional mode when it is discounted. Because why not get the discount price, right? Our Patreons. The Hear It From Heiner show, recap of the entire season, looking back at the finals and the awards were great. I think it's one of the best auto racing conversations anywhere. Like, We're talking with a race-winning and active crew chief about the decisions that they make throughout the season and the competition and the social and gossip side of the sport. It's really great, but it's for Patreons only. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. If you sign up for an entire season, I will send you a t-shirt, which I'm going to go do that right now. Send out to Patreons some t-shirts who signed up for a year. It's a great little community. You get to be a part of the Ignition show. You get behind the scenes content. And yes, during the winter break, I'm going to ramp that up because why wouldn't I? Shout out to Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. This makes a great gift. Put your friend or loved one in a dragster. They show up with a shirt on their back and they have the experience of a lifetime. FrankHawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio and get them the gift and let them figure out which school they're going to go to because it moves all around the country. They go everywhere. They're going to Tucson. They're going to be in Gainesville. Like, where's your friend? And they will work it out. Samtech.edu, Brian Massengill, Linda Massengill, Judd Massengill put together a school to train the next generation of machinists. How badly do we need that? Very, very badly. We already are at a deficit. Who's going to be the CNC programmer of the future? Who's going to make the next generation of superchargers? Who's going to bore the next generation of race engines? Someone from Samtech. And if you're a relatively young person, you're a military veteran, you're approved to train the veterans under the GI Bill over there, maybe you reach out to them and you go down this road. I have not met an unhappy machinist. Everybody I meet through the Engine Performance Expo and PRI and WFO, and if they love their job. They love what they do. They're out there solving problems, making chips, making people fast engines. It's running a business. Samtech.edu. Appreciate them. And then there's Marvin Rodak, my buddy. RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. Stampede of Speed Blend. Do I still have it here? No, I'm drinking it. The Stampede of Speed Blend. He's got all this coffee from all around the world. Exotic coffee. I would get a holiday pack. A pound of coffee, a bottle of spice rub, and a container of hot sauce. Call Marvin, 817-924-6821. 817-924-6821. I want to get 5 holiday packs. Send them to me, and then you send them to the people who are worthy of your gift, assuming you have some. RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. Go to the website, and let's see what people have. Yeah, the Project Pontiac is something I'm very excited to work on. Matt Hagan winning the championship. He's going to be on the show. That's Bobby Graham with him out there at the Stampede of Speed. They really dominated. If you think about the season, I mean, they lost a race by 1/10,000th of a second. They won a couple races back to back in the countdown. They had a strong team and season all year long. They're worthy champions, is my point. He is a 4-time champion, joining John Force, Kenny Bernstein, and Don the Snake Prudhomme, as with 4 or more. That's an exclusive club. Congratulations to those guys. Looking forward to connecting with them. The finals, the post-celebration. Am I speaking out of school? Am I exaggerating? Talking about the moment that we all experienced at the finals and putting it on par with world motorsport pinnacle Formula One. Our sport is better. And I love that. Like, Alan didn't watch. And I find it like, you got to check out what they did for $560 million. Like, someone's going to spend $560 million. I want to see what it is. What is it? And they did a great job and had a great event. And it was amazing. And it's going to go on for 10 years and it's going to be amazing. Our event is better. What we experienced in the finals was better. You can't walk up to Max Verstappen at the end of the race and say, "Hey, Max, congratulations, and you won." You can't do that. You can do that at our race. It was that good. If you were not at the In-N-Out Burger Finals, it was that good. Top to bottom, Thursday to Sunday. It was that good. We had that much greatness at our event. So what holds us back? Well, that's a different story for a different day. It takes money to make money. And Formula One's got money. They got a lot of it. And they just did something that the world motorsports promoters and everybody should take notice. Okay, this is what they're doing. And that's something I've been saying for a while. They're making racing fans. It makes it so much easier for us to just go in and make a Formula One fan also a drag racing fan. Yeah, those cars are awesome. So are ours. Oh, you got cars? Yeah, we got cars. And drivers with helmets too. Check out those cars. Check out these cars. They're all cars. They're racers. You want to see? Come check this out. Oh, yeah, okay. And next thing you know, they're drag racing fans. Wow, we can go talk to the drivers? Yes, we can talk to the drivers and watch them as they get in their cars and talk to them while they're working on the cars. And then they go 100 miles an hour faster. And the race doesn't take 2 hours and a manhole doesn't come up. Stuff comes up sometimes. As I'm cycling through some of the photographs just to remember, great year. There's Heiner. The Hear It From Heiner show, him and Greg Anderson. But when I look at this, I think of Erica Enders and the season that they had. Starting off slow, winning the championship. What else? The after party. Great job, Jason Logan. Jason Logan had his best event of the year at the In-N-Out Burger Finals. That was a part of it too, with the awards banquet. The awards ceremony, which is on NHRA.com, and you can all go watch. I have no idea if my red carpet interviews were on there. I have no idea. Like I don't know. But I felt like it turned out pretty well. We had a blast. Everybody loved the jacket. Of course, that's what's most important. But Doug Kalitta gave a incredible speech, and that's all available up on NHRA.com. Here's Logan doing his thing, man, at the Wheel of Steel, making it happen. It was awesome. Everybody was celebrating. We had a great time. The champ and Chloe and me still in my gear, right? Me and Heiner hanging out. Keep hitting this one because it keeps coming up. Leah and Tony, they had a blast. Like, it was a great time. It was a great time. And that's the thing. People let their hair down and have a lot of fun, and we get ready to go again. Right now on NHRA.com, there is a brand new poll. Everybody loves polls. They love to vote. They love to vote. And good job by NHRA National Dragster getting this up and out, and it's live. Driver of the year, crew chief of the year, tuner of the year, all categories. Who's the tuner of the year in all categories? Shouldn't it be Andrew Hines? Like, as good as everybody else did. Like, I think Aaron Brooks and Todd Okahara did a great job, right? Like, coming into funny car with like not very many runs on a funny car and going down to the final race and being in contention for the championship, multiple race wins. Yeah, they did a great job tuning that car. But Andrew Hines was 50-4. What would you vote for? Go to NHRA.com and get in on the voting. Multiple categories. And good job, Phil Burgess and the team at NHRA National Dragstrip, for recognizing that people like to vote. Just like me and Reinhart, right? Like, what was the top moment of the year? To me, it's one or the other. Doug Kalitta, winner take all. Ron Capps, U.S. Nationals, with Snake on the line in the Snake car. Worthy debate. Worthy debate. I'll just let it simmer for a little while. All right, let's see what people have got to say. I've stalled long enough. That's what I do. I stall so you guys can put worthy comments in the chat section, and then I will comment on your comments. That's what I do on a talk show, right? F1 is on at weird times. Yeah, 1 a.m. start time, East Coast. Unable to watch it. There is a device called a DVR, or if you have cut the cord, you can just stream on demand whenever you want, and that's what I do. So the race starts whenever I want it to start, which it started on Sunday morning for me. Should have started at 8:30 Vegas time. Why you got to wait till 10? 8:30. It's the first event. Everybody learns something at the first event. You got to learn. I feel like the start time was a little too late. It was the third most watched Formula One race of the season worldwide, or maybe in the United States. So people watched it. But you can improve. Everyone can improve. So happy for Connie and Doug. Yeah. Connie Kalitta. The idea that I was able to go talk to him on the starting line and get into the bubble of his personal joy, to be in that moment for 1 millisecond, like, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. They did it. They got Doug a championship. They made a bunch of moves. We're going to do this. This is our seed. We're going to do this. And they did it, and it worked. Like, what's better than that? Great show today. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. 12 noon, Doug Kalitta. The algorithm, guys, the algorithm. You all know about the algorithm. We're constantly fighting the algorithm. You got to be liking and clicking the bell and sharing and thumbs up and commenting. I can't wait to watch the show tomorrow. It's going to be great. And then maybe the algorithm will allow us to have a viewer. It was an awesome season. I cannot wait for 2024. I don't know, me either. Mission Foods. What will be different? How will they activate? Yesterday, I'm driving back from Wright Trailers, and I see a big Mission Foods tractor trailer go by. And what is on the side? One of those, I guess it's flat track motorcycles that they are in. All I know is they got a rider kicked out sideways, leaning it over on the side of their tractor trailers. Will Mission Foods put drag racers on the side of their tractor trailers, delivering all the chips all across the country? Is that something that they might do? Who knows? I hope so. But I'm excited and eager to be helpful. See what Nicole Clark says. It's going to be a crazy, silly season. New Top Fuel drivers joining the tour. Yeah, Sean Reed, the big breaking news out there on the starting line. If you're not watching NHRA.tv, you're missing so much. You're missing so much. You miss Little Tay be popping, number one. And you also missed Sean Reed break the news that Rob Wendland is coming to the team, and he's going full-time. Did he say that? Yeah, in 2024. And they've got more news to come at PRI. Big news, big news. I think it's big. You tell me. Where will the crew chiefs come from? That is a good question. Well, they're going to come from other teams, which is also the unfortunate side. NHRA and everybody, the pro organization, like everybody that is involved in, has a stakeholder in the health of the future of drag racing. Yeah, we need a couple more good qualified crew chiefs to get out there. We need a couple more, like people, like if 3 more teams wanted to get started, we don't have the manpower to do it. That's my assessment. Maybe I'm wrong. What are you going to do? Take Brian Houston away from Alan Johnson and send Brian over there? What are you going to do? Where are these people going to come from? Is it, Alex Conaway and Stretch? Are they ready to leave Dickey and go somewhere else? No, I don't think so. But they're qualified. But it's a finite resource. So if we want to grow, we need more people that know what they're doing, and they're not going to blow everybody's stuff up, because that makes people want to quit. Really happy for my buddy Trevor winning the Super Gas title. He deserved it. Sherman Adcock is a Southeastern Division guy, and so I kind of felt like Sherman had a great start to the season. But Trevor Larson had a great second half to the season, and that's how it goes. So congratulations, Trevor. Great championship battles, top and bottom. And we'll speak with Trevor on WFO, so click the bell. Great show. Lots of great information. NHRA is growing. Hopefully tech people will get it together. See you tomorrow watching from SoFlo, says Leah Treen. The tech people will get it together. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of an unnecessary shot. They found a bunch of stuff at the end of the season. They got it together. Everybody wanted a more active tech department, and they got it. They wanted it. They got it. It's important to know that the sport is being officiated. It's important to know that. And if you get 100 people who are knowledgeable about the deal and you talk to them about their opinions about what should happen when someone gets caught, I think you'd have a third. No matter who they are, if they get caught, you throw the hammer at them, you drop the book on them, whatever you want to, analogy you want to say. I think a lot of people would tell you that it's situational, like, oh man, if the person is a big personality and they're doing a lot for the sport and it's going to be damaging to them and the sport, maybe we shouldn't. People will tell you that. I don't know if I don't agree with that, but people will tell you that. And then the other third is, they don't know what they're talking about. Let's see. Billy. Explain the evolution of Factory X. Did the car get built and the rules written to it? Was Lonnie Grimm involved, or were the rules laid out beforehand? Like, it was all of that. Yes. The answer is yes. Lonnie was heavily involved. He was talking to people. They had working groups. They had people come together. But in the end, they made the call. And I've been threatening to have Lonnie Grimm on the show. And all season long, it's very busy, but in the winter break, we'll definitely do it. We will ask Lonnie on the show. He has already said he will be happy to come on the show, and that's one of the things we can talk about. I'll give you an example. The steel roof and quarters aspect of Factory X is a big fork in the road. Do we need to have steel roof and quarters or do we not? How important is that? That was a big point of contention. That we want someone to be able to pull a car out of a junkyard, cut it up and build this Factory X car. Father and son fabricators who feel like they can build a car. It doesn't have to be Jerry Haas. And that's what we went with. But talk to Jerry Haas, and he says that adds at least $20,000 to the cost of every car. Because now you got a mounted body, as opposed to going to a 5-star and having them build carbon fiber roof and quarters and, do whatever they do to make them, which they have an assembly line, and it goes much quicker and it ends up being cheaper. Could that father and son have mounted a carbon fiber body? Doesn't matter. Horses out of the gate. Steel roof and quarters is what it is. Those are the kind of details. Those are the conversations that are happening all the time. Looking forward to getting my t-shirt. That's right, Chuck. I only hand deliver to you, Chuck. So wait till Brainerd next year. Fantastic season and a bright future. The NHRA TV team was great, making a pleasure watching. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for making it personal like that. Jason Galvin, Jason Logan, Hannah, Alan, everybody that was involved. Of course, the social media team, Nikki and Josh is in the media center, and Allie Blend. These people work so hard, and they did such a great job. And imagine what it's like to see any one person talk trash on the season that we just had. And there people are trying. That thing that they did. 6-time champ queen, EE, love it. So happy for Doug, yeah. Well, happy for everybody. You need a special blend of coffee, Joe. WFO, go, Joe. We have a special blend. It's called the WFO Radio Blend. That is available at Rodax. It's already there. Yeah, no, I'm not going to promote myself. We're going to promote WFO Radio. We need the help, guys. If Rodak makes it, take care of your idea, guy. Yeah, no, it's made. He made it, Bill, like 10 years ago. That's why we're doing it. The WFO Radio Blend. It's one of his most popular blends. I just added that. I don't know if it's true. Our cars are faster. Our cars are a lot faster. But the problem is when we say, I don't want to know anything about what they're doing over there. No, we should be embracing them. We should be working our way right in there. We should be at the Formula One. Yeah, we go 100 miles an hour faster than these guys. Aren't they great? Look at how cool that is. 220 miles an hour. Awesome. We go 330. You want to watch? They drew 300,000 people there. We had little Tay, though, who is big, by the way. I keep joking about it, but only because, I was pulled aside. People pulled aside and they said, just so you know, in the 13 to 18-year-old community, she's huge. Big personality. I know what's up. Drag racing down the Las Vegas Strip. Too bumpy, but yes, that would be nice. I wouldn't say anything negative to the strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That is an amazing facility. It's one of our single best facilities. And we don't need to be in it's 14 minutes away. We don't need to be on the strip. Our system is fine. Go to the track, have a race, go back to the casinos, plunge our guts out. Simple. It did fly by. Del Holbrook for the win. Yeah, didn't I see something? Holbrook getting rid of the car? I don't know about that. What else? Billy. For me, Doug Kalitta moment was very epic because everyone vividly remembers his face watching Schumacher set the record in the win. Okay, so I'll talk about this now and not tomorrow with Doug. At the SEMA show, day one, final guest, me and Brian Loans. Loans puts me on the spot. What do I think is going to happen? And, they don't go back and pull this clip. They don't want to show me looking good, getting something right. They're holding it back, keeping it from the audience out there. Now, that's not what they're doing. But in the moment, pressure on. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. This is the history kind of thing. Politics, world government, world history, whatever. Alan Johnson, Tony Schumacher together defeat Doug Kalitta for the championship on the run in a winner-take-all situation. Years later, Alan Johnson, Doug Kalitta win the championship out of the same lane together. That's what that old saying means. They are the personification of that saying. And we talked about it at the SEMA show. And, home run of a prognostication. Very glad Kalitta met him, et cetera, and so on. Nikki, I would like to see which younger guys may be promoted to crew chief. Yeah, me too. We'll see. Doug's one. Well, look at Daniel Wilkerson, right? There's going to be a journey. You're going to blow some stuff up. There's going to be some bumps in the road. Nobody who is new at anything is just going to jump in and be perfect at it and just excel with no issues. That's not going to happen. Doug's win was just as significant. We will never see a 26-year wait for People's Champion. Ron's moment was great too. I vote for Doug. Yeah. I looked up at the racing gods and I said to them on the starting line in my own personal moment, because I'm a fan. Like, I'm not just working here. I'm a fan. I really like this stuff. The day that I don't get to work here anymore, I will continue to be a fan and I will do my own thing. Involved and around while I'm in the lumberyard working. But I looked up to the racing gods and I said to myself, and I said to the racing gods, like, you can't do this to this guy again. Like, right? It would be great for Leah and for Tony and for that whole team and Neil, for those guys to win the championship. But you can't do that to this guy again. That's cruel. It's just cruel. The racing gods. Can you imagine how we would all feel right now? I mean, it would be great for Leah. Leah would be a champion, but the Doug Kalitta story hasn't won, continues on another year, continues on. No racing gods. That would just be wrong. And clearly they agreed, because Doug, and it didn't really matter because Doug is like 40 something on the tree, throws down a 67, spoke with Alan Johnson at the awards banquet. And he's like very proud of the way they did it. They won 3 of 6. And Doug Kalitta comes into the finals in extreme throwdown mode and just kind of whooped everybody. That's how you do it. Luke. I saw Luke from Australia. Great year, Joe. Thank you. Just ramping up our Pro Mod season here in Australia. Luke is, we had a hangout at SEMA. He's one of our many WFO radio listeners from Australia. Let's hear from some crew chiefs. I like the, well, we got Daniel Wilkerson is guaranteed. Daniel has already confirmed. We're having Daniel Wilkerson. And I think I would love to get Alex Conaway and Mike Knutson on. Dickey or no Dickey. Because those two are, they're diehard drag racing, man. And everybody should know them. Nobody talked about Milliken's clutch lady leaving. She was on the way to crew chief 5 to 10 years now down the road. Sad she's leaving to chase dreams. People do their time in the sport. It's very hard. This sport is very, very challenging. And if you could just be there, okay. But the getting there is the problem. And the leaving home is the problem. And, this big winter break is a problem. Thank goodness for WFO. Because at least I've got something to do. And hopefully you guys will all be watching all of our stuff. We're going to do a lot of Project Pontiac. We're going to do a lot of Patreon shows for the people that are supporting the show behind the scenes. We're going to really work hard to get through this winter break as best as we can. I need gigs, baby. I need gigs. PRI, of course. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do some hidden horsepowers as well. Guys, obviously this was a long one. Go check out Ignition. We had a lot of fun. Tomorrow, 12 noon, Doug Kalitta Hopefully you're still with me on this. So much to talk about. Can't just jump on here and not talk about anything. You know, the awards, it was so amazing. A lot of gossipy stuff happened over there. A lot of gossipy stuff. What else? There it is. Look at this. I don't know if this was Cameron Evans or Jason Galvin. Both are my friends. They both saw this moment happening and thought it was significant enough to pull out their phone and take a photograph of it. Conrad doesn't need the photo. They did it for me. And thank you both. That was just amazing. If you like drag race. Yeah. Well, it doesn't take much. People have got to just know about it. The sport sells itself. You just got to get them there. They're like, oh, really? All right, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm going to go get ready for Doug Kalitta tomorrow, 12 noon. Hopefully everybody's out there. Don't forget to go to NHRA.com and vote for the all-star team. Every category. Something to vote for, right? Just get on there and vote. Some interesting conversation starting battles. Maybe, I don't know how long the voting is going to be up, but maybe we could do some of that on the air as well. Maybe that'll be a Patreon deal, right? Who knows? Thanks to Alan Reinhart. Thanks to everybody out there watching the show and our celebrities like the Daniel Wilkersons of the world and Lenny Lodigs of the world. This guy voted. Fun stuff. And remember, there's a new Attention in the Pits out right now. Chad Fergan. You got to go see it. 59 Corvette. It's going to blow your mind. Oh, yeah. Attention in the Pits continues through the winter break. All right, guys. WFO. Thanks to Aaron Stanfield as well. Way to go, Joe Lee.